Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 16 of What If Naruto Was the legendary Uchiha x Namikaze. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, remember to stay tuned for the rest of what is coming your way over Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. And if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. Minato told Itachi everything, as he told him that Naruto was dead. Itachi lost it. The rage, the anger. He lost it completely. As Minato had to do his best to make sure his son didn't go overboard. He already lost one son and he wasn't going to lose another. As Itachi found out that Kushina was the one to kill Naruto. But he wasn't mad at Kushina. He was mad at this world. It was this system that created people like them. And he was done with it. The fury in his eyes. The look, it frightened even Minato. As Itachi was gonna change things. Things were gonna change. Meanwhile, as Naruto was being controlled by Madara, well, Madara thought that. But he had a little test to make sure that Naruto was indeed under his control. So, he brought Naruto to a nearby village. A lot of innocent people that were going against the Mizukage, as he thought that he was putting them in a senseless war. Bringing him here, he told Naruto to kill them all. As Ikari wanted to take over, but Naruto said that it was his burden to bear. As he made his way down toward the village, he sealed his emotions off as he slaughtered everyone. Children, everyone, old people, infants. He didn't hesitate as he took them all down. He then came back to Madara. And right now Madara believed that Naruto was completely under his control as he brought him back to the base. As Naruto found Orochimaru in his room, it seems like Orochimaru did not know that Madara was truly behind it, because he told Zetsu, yes, he was the one to tell Zetsu, to test Naruto. As Naruto told him to get out of his room, the rage on his face as Orochimaru left. As Naruto then spoke to Ikari, the both of them had a heart-to-heart talk, and Naruto was finally able to accept Ikari, and the both of them merged together as one once again. He felt the power, not to mention he felt calm. Ikari took a lot of his pain with him. As Ikari was now gone, his voice was no longer there. But also, Naruto was whole again. On the other hand, Kushina had came up with a theory that Naruto was lying. He knew what was going on. Yes, he knew, but he didn't inform her, so she made her way towards his room, only to come face to face with him just stepping out of the shower. Well, it was a rather awkward situation, until they got down to talk. After, Naruto teased her a bit. Indeed, she knew that Naruto wasn't fully under Madara's control, but he had to do it that way. He couldn't let her find out, because a simple slip from her, a slip of behavior, Madara would know. So he hid the truth away from her, but she wanted to know why was he doing all of this. What exactly did he want? So he decided to tell her what did he want. Meanwhile, Hana was there for Izumo. With Mikasa and the others now gone, he was the one in charge. The both of them had a wonderful moment, but the unit had to move forward. Things are in wreckage right now. The only person that was stopping Baku from sending them on a suicide mission was Naruto and Mikasa now that you were gone. He didn't give a damn about this unit, so things would not be good for them at all. But still, They were gonna have a funeral. After all, Naruto was the Hokage's son and the heir to Namikaze clan. So yeah guys, it was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the play sector for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. Damn it! Genma cursed his luck for the 100th time, as this location turned out to be a disappointment. Where the hell was this blonde chick? And why the hell was he doing the babysitting? It was bad enough that he was around so many depressed assholes. He doubted that he would be that depressed even if he lost the war. Yes, Naruto was dead, and he lost a valuable comrade and a wonderful leader, but for comic sake, it was not the end of the world. They had survived after Commander Fox's death, while Naruto took charge, and he was sure that another leader would rise once again. He took a sharp turn and then came in front of the forest that Naruto and the Kyuubi Jinchuriki had destroyed in their fight. Well, this was big, said Genma sarcastically. How was he supposed to handle Rainjutsu? He was barely a social person. He'd only joined this shitty blacklight because it offered more pay than any other field. People consider him a hard ass or asshole, but screw them. Life was not easy, and not everyone had a clan or the Hokage as their family. He came from a poor family. His parents were shinobis, but they had suffered wounds in the previous war, and they were no longer fit to be a shinobi. Not to mention they were under a huge debt now, and they were running a small grocery shop during this era of war, and that was his story. That was his big secret of serving Konoha and the Fire Nation. That is why he joined Black Ops. Nothing more, nothing less. After all, at the end of the day, the only thing that he ever wanted was to get rich, spend the rest of his life drinking, and just having a all-around wonderful time. Nothing more, nothing less. But no, he became a blacklight, the soldiers that protected from the shadows. Damn it, where was that woman, he thought to himself. Fire style, fireball jutsu. Genma watches a massive fireball stream forward out in the forest, so she was over there, and she was performing jutsus. He jumped through the trees as he made his way towards the open field where he saw her, flashing through hand sign once again. Fire style, fireball jutsu, as she reduced the destroyed trees into ashes. What are you doing, said Genma. She turned her gaze towards him. Training. He jumped from a tree and started to walk towards her. For what? None of your goddamn business, she said. Genma chuckled at that. She wanted to be alone, but deep down, she didn't really want to be alone. It was always a guessing game. Well, it is my business, he said, since you're part of my squad now. Baku is rearranging the squads as he passed a piece of paper to her. She read it over, and that seemed to make her just even more angry than before. But Naruto made perfect squads. His formation worked perfectly. Why, she said. Well, for starters, Naruto is dead, and Baku wanted to kick all of her asses. So you can probably get the picture. Look, I'm not asking you to be my friend, but I don't want you at your full capability, both physically and mentally. I am fine, she said as she tried to turn away, but he placed a hand on her shoulder. If you're fine, then I'm a saint, he said. Look, Rainjutsu, I know that you loved him. Everyone knew that from the first day of base camp. Even after you and Armin got together, you still loved him. But he's gone now. Her fists clenched tightly, the dam of tears in her eyes were almost about to break loose. What do you know about love, she said. Have you ever loved someone for years only to be ignored every single time? Her voice was filled with nothing but pain as Genma looked down. A smile, a bitter smile appeared in his face as he thought about a certain girl. As a matter of fact, he said, looking up, I do know what they feel like, and it's rather painful watching them with another person. But that is just how the world works. But you have to move on. You cannot stay in the past forever. Maybe the future holds something better for you. You have to look forward towards it. You cannot remain in the past, he said. He was finally returning my feelings, she said, her voice filled with nothing but grief and sadness. Those memories will forever stay in your heart, Rainjutsu. Cherish them, but don't throw your life away in revenge. You know he wouldn't want you to do that. Besides, you got a family back home. Think about them before you do something suicidal. And remember, they still love you, no matter what happened. She just lowered her head. Well, the funeral is tonight, and Baku is gonna announce the next suicidal campaign. So be there, or even better, don't be there. Just to find a way to piss that old geezer off, Genma said, jokingly. Even she laughed a bit on hearing that remark. She watched him walking away, as she realized that he was just more than an asshole behind that hard-ass mask that he wore. He was a simple boy, and right now, she needed a friend. Hey, she said. Genma stopped towards her voice as he turned back. I could really use your help in fire style ninjutsu. Genma looked at her for a few moments. As he sighed, troublesome, he said. Meanwhile, back at the Akatsuki base, Kushina had tears in her eyes as Naruto just exited her mind. After showing her everything with his Mangita Sharingan, to think this new generation went through so much at such a young age. No, she understood his reasons for changing this world. Even though I was becoming stronger, nothing had changed. It was the same as when Commander Fox and Hisuna died. I was wrong. I noticed my peaceful dream of this world was just bullshit, said Naruto. I owe them my life. They were my dream. My irreplaceable friends who I would have gladly given my life up for. As he looked her directly in the eyes. And all their deaths are the source of my pain, he said. She knew all about him now as the tears slipped from her eye. His past with his family. The demon inside of him named Hikaru. His friends. His pain that he suffered during the war. So much pain. Everything was crystal clear to her now, as he had revealed every dirty secret. I have told you everything now. Let me hear your answer, said Naruto. How do you plan to change the world, she said. Tell me your way. After accepting my darkness, everything became clear to me. The person standing in front of you now is a real Naruto Namikaze, and I have my own personal ambition. What is it, she asked. History is written by the victors, he said. Every 1,000 years, humanity undergo great changes. A new road erupted from the old. This pattern has repeated itself again and again from the Sage era to the Clan War period, and now this Shinobi era. But in this world, humans have too much power, and because of that power, war happens frequently. Today, it is much worse. Mankind itself is at threat if this war does not end quickly. Humans need something to guide them. People need something to believe in. Just as they believe in Kami, I will create something that will guide them to channel their power and their faith in. And what is this thing, she asks. The Holy Empire of Japan, said Naruto. Looking into his Mangita eyes, Kushina could see that he was telling the truth. His determination was unwavering. Nothing could break him from this dream. You really mean what you just said, she asked. Yes, I will create the empire by uniting the ninja villages and the entire world together. I will give the people who can understand the new future and accept it a chance to live up to their full potential. And those who oppose you, she asked. What about those who would be against this new world, she said. They will be annihilated, said Naruto. What? She said. I'm not saying that my ways are right or just way. I'm not a messiah or savior, but this is the path I have chosen for myself. Humans always do what they want. This war was started by a few old geezers who were fooled by Madara. But despite that, they truly wanted war. They desired it. That war won't be perfect either. There will always be problems in this world, but the system will be far better than this corrupted one that we now live in. And in order to create that world, I need your help, said Naruto. She was surprised upon hearing that. My help, she said. Yes, after I expose the Akatsuki and Madara, I will leave enough evidence to prove your innocent to the Hokage. And you can return back to Konoha and help me create this new world. You are the Jinjulti of the Kyuubi and an extremely powerful ninja. But most of all, you know true pain, and I would like to make you my second in command, should you accept. Kushina was taken back by the offer. This could be a defining moment in her life. Answer that she could give that would change every single thing. Everything that she believed, everything that she was living for at the moment. If she chose this path, she could be a part of something bigger. And there was just something about Naruto that made her want to believe in him and say yes. He was honest. He wasn't going to be a savior of the world or a peaceful man. He just was a young man with a dream. The Holy Empire of Japan. That is what he was going to call it. His dream as she looked towards him. But there was still one question. But don't you want to return to Konoha? Back to your family and friends, she said. The Naruto that they knew died on Miyasako Island, said Naruto. And I'm not the person that they knew. Besides, if I return to Konoha, they won't be able to understand my dream. And I will only bring disgrace to my family. I don't understand, she said, confused. I was a Black Light commander, and entering the Akatsuki was my choice. I abandoned my post in a crucial time in this war. Even if I expose the Akatsuki, my career is over. I will be court-martialed and stripped of all ranks, all my achievements. Even my father won't be able to stop it, because I have broken all the rules. No matter what reason I have, I will be branded as a deserter. This will really damage my father's reputation, Kushina. That is why I have severed all ties with my past. The only thing left for me is the creation of my dream. This is my destiny, he said. She realized that this was not easy for him as well. She came forward. She pulled him into a hug. He hesitated, but he accepted the hug. What about Itachi, she asked. I'm sure he will find his own way. He has a dream just like me. Perhaps someday, we will face each other, he said. She broke the hug as she looked him directly in the eyes. She then gave him a firm nod. He pulled on his face mask as he moved closer, as her heartbeat started to increase. But he kissed her on the cheek. Thank you, he said, as he was really happy that she accepted. He slowly started to move back towards the window of the room. But she had another question that she had to ask. But you need an army for your dream, she said. She saw a smile came on his face. Oh, I already have an army, he said. She said, confused. You'll find out in due time, he said. Just trust me. As his gaze went towards the window, his plan was risky, and he could also get killed as well. But he was never one to give up, as his Mangita Sharingan started to spin wildly. As he looked towards the world in front of him, Naruto Namikaze commands you. Obey me, world, he said. Time skip. Mikasa was watching a pair of birds on the outside of a nearby tree. As her eyes returned back towards the room that she was currently in, she wanted to return back to the front lines. She felt her body was ready for it, but the chief medical officer believed that she was not. She didn't know why the medic was so concerned about her health. Yes, she might not be in a battle-ready condition, but she could be back with her company, back with Naruto. That thought alone brought a small blush in her face. She could not understand how her feelings for him had changed so much, but there was many difficulties as she thought about the future and how to pursue it. One of them being Renjutsu. Granted, he was free to talk with anyone, and she was his friend and comrade, but you've got quite a temper. Mikasa turned towards the woman standing there. As the woman sat down in a chair right beside her bed, she had long black hair that came in two bangs right at her hair side. Black eyes, fair skin. Something about this woman seemed so familiar. As she looked towards her badge, Chief Medical Officer, you can loosen your grip on the sheets. They're almost torn. Mikasa looked down. She almost ripped the bed. Her fingernails had been digging in it. Was it that much aggravating her? When she thought about Naruto and Renjutsu, thinking about Naruto, Mikasa's eyes went wide. Her cheeks turned red. As the woman laughed. How did you... But the woman simply patted her head gently. I am Mikoto Uchiha, Chief Medical Officer of the Medical Division, but you may know me as Naruto's mother. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted, Mikoto-sama, said Mikasa. Nervously, she pointed toward the sheets. As she instantly looked down, she was Naruto's mother? What would she think about her? She was an orphan girl, and yet here she was, the wife of the Hokage, who belonged to the Uchiha clan. No need to get nervous. Be your natural self around me. I don't really bite that much, said Mikoto. Yes, Mikoto-sama. No need to be so formal either. But the girl shook her head. No, you're Hokage-sama's wife, and his chief medical officer. You deserve the respect. Mikasa, I know a bit about your past. You're my son's best friend as well, and you were there when he needed you. You don't need to be so nervous around me. Your family, said Mikoto. Mikasa was shocked at the affection shown to her. Now she understood where Naruto got his understanding nature. His mother was so nice. Thanks, Mikoto-san. Mikoto-san, my comrades, said Mikasa. As Mikoto noticed the concern in her eyes. They're fine. I was able to synthesize a cure from your body that helped me save their life. You can meet them if you want. Thank you. It's quite a relief that you're safe, said Mikasa happily. As Mikoto saw that the girl was getting comfortable, she had a question that she wanted to ask for the past few days now. Mikasa, do you remember anything from your past? She knew that it was a very sensitive topic, but they had to ask a sign if Orochimaru messed her up in any way. The girl was not able to see many of her memories because they were blocked. It was like someone had sealed them away. Mikasa looked towards her suspiciously for a few moments. Her past was clear. She was an orphan. No, she said. I see. Now I hear you want to join the front lines and return back to active duty, said Mikoto as she tried to divert her mind from diving deeper into suspicions. It seemed to work. Yes, please. I want to return to my company. Do you have any news regarding your status? Asked. Mikasa seriously. I'm afraid not. All Blacklight missions are classified. Until the higher ups want us to know. I have no idea what is going on out there. Mikoto said truthfully. Mikasa picked herself up as she started to walk towards the window. You don't need to worry, Mikoto-san. Konoha would have achieved victory by now, said Mikasa. How can you be so sure? Asked Mikoto. Blacklight is the best soldier for a nation. More than that, we're led by one of the greatest commander in history. Your son is the best leader, the best commander in the Blacklight force, and under his command, we can never lose. Mikoto smiled on hearing that. You seem to admire Naruto. Mikasa's cheeks became a bit red. He's a good commander, we trust him with our life. He's always at the front to lead us to victory. He risked his own life for us. The reason why Konoha is winning the war is because of your son. Well, I'm sure that he had help from you and his comrades. You guys are a big part of his strength, said Mikoto. There was nervousness in Mikasa's eyes. You want to say something, don't you? Mikoto-san, Naruto is my best friend, and I would never abandon him. I would go through hell with him no matter what. But there is darkness in his heart. What kind of darkness? Asked Mikoto. His obsession for power, his drive for vengeance. He hated the current system ever since we lost our friends Armin and Katetsu. His hatred for this world has increased by tenfold. He is carrying around all the hatred of our dead comrades and our friends. And one day he will strike this world with that hatred of his. Mikoto closed her eyes as she nodded. The curse of hatred, she said. He's a conqueror. You should know that, Mikoto-san. I've tried to stand by his side and I will always will, but from Armin's death, everything has changed. Naruto loved Armin, perhaps, even as much as Itachi. Armin's death was the reason his Mangekyo awoken. Wait, what? A Mangekyo? Said Mikoto. You didn't know? Mikasa asked. Just how much did the Hokage didn't tell her? Or how much did Baku manipulate? I was told that Naruto was sad when Armin died. No one told me he awoken the Mangekyo. That power, it's evil, said Mikoto. A furious look came in Mikasa's eyes. We were betrayed by Baku when he sent us straight into that ambush. Armin estimated the danger, and he did not let Naruto walk in the ambush. Instead, he and Katetsu took his place, and they were killed by the hidden Anbu squads. What the hell did Baku tell you? Mikasa asked angrily. Mikoto no understand. The awakening of the Mangekyo, the sacrifice and the pain that Naruto must have felt. The manifestation of the Mangekyo was all the grief and the anger that the Uchiha felt. She needed to talk to Minato. She thought to herself, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have let him join Blacklight in the first place. Damn it, said Mikoto. Tears came in her eyes as she realized that all this time he has been fighting without the support of his family, without her. She felt a gentle hand being placed on her shoulder as she saw Mikasa giving her an understanding gaze. He doesn't hate you. After everything I did to him, Mikoto remembered those words. She dreamed about them. The night when she said those words that she couldn't have taken back. Let me show you, said Mikasa. She made a hand sign and their surrounding. It started to change. Mikoto found herself in a small room as she saw Naruto and Armin, and Mikasa as well, sitting in the corner. Their clothes was covered with blood and dust, and she saw other people getting treated. This was after a battle. Mikasa stepped beside her, the real one that just cast a jutsu. This is our battle after Sensei, said Mikasa, as she saw Naruto being healed by Mikasa over in the corner. Naruto, you're so reckless, said Mikasa, as he simply huffed and crossed his arms. Mikasa, don't be so angry. I'm sure that Naruto was fighting properly, Armin said, as Naruto gave Armin a wink, and he winked back. Bang! She punched both of them over their head as they fell down to the ground. You idiots, she said. They were her friends, but they really got on her nerves sometime. Don't you think she's overreacting, Naruto said, in a hushed tone. Maybe she got hit over the head or something, Armin said, as both of them gave each other a fist bump. Or maybe it's that time of the month, said Naruto, as Armin snickered. The both of them paused when they felt a dark chakra. As they slowly turned their head to see a furious Mikasa standing there. After a few seconds, the both of them were in severe pain, as Mikasa looked like she didn't do a single thing. Armin was thinking about what she said though. For years, Naruto has risked his life. Like it didn't matter if he lived or died. Naruto, Do you not really value your life? Armin asks. Mikasa stopped, as Naruto tilted his head away. What was he supposed to say to that? Maybe he said, don't you want to go back home? Back to your family after this war, said Mikasa. Both her and Armin were orphans, so they couldn't understand. Because his situation was different. He had a family to go back to. I'm better off up here. Besides, I don't deserve to go back home after what I did. You're still carrying that burden, Armin said. She didn't say those words because she hates you, your mother. Was just angry, said Armin. And I don't blame her, said Naruto. When I was all alone, she was there for me. She removed the hatred that was burning in my heart and filled it with love and affection. And the only thing I gave her in return was heartbreak. I'm sure she will continue to hate me, but I love her no matter what. That is why I want to create a better world, where she can live happily, and even if it means risking and costing my life. I will give anything to make sure that I create a better world for her, said Naruto. Mikasa was crying as she witnessed that scene. Your son will always love you no matter what, said Mikasa. As Mikasa, tears were dropping from her face, but at the same time she was smiling. A huge burden had been lifted off her shoulder, as she thought that Naruto had hated her. I love you too, she said. In the flashback, before Mikasa could say anything, she was pulled in a bone-crushing hug. Thank you, said Mikasa tearfully. Well, I just told the truth. He really does love you no matter what. As he broke the hug after a moment. As Mikasa wiped away her tears, she looked towards Mikasa. A really kind, gentle girl. You really love him, don't you? As Mikasa averted her gaze. No, he's just my friend, she said shyly. A friend that you kiss, a friend that you risk your life for, countless of times. A friend that you do anything for to solve his problems. You don't need to hide it, Mikasa. I am really happy that you're someone like you, who love my son and care about him so much. As Mikasa lowered her eyes. It's not that simple, she said. Well, it never is. Look, I know what you're going through. And knowing my son, you won't say that he likes you or not. He's just that kind of person. He always keeps his feelings to himself, unless you pave your way through his heart, or show him that you're there. Make a move, before it's too late. Mikasa's eyes started to twitch, a bit angrily. He flirted with almost every girl. I love him, but he's never serious about any kind of relationship. For him, it's just to pass time or fun. As Mikasa sighed, Naruto, why are you always such a troublesome child, she thought. All the more reason for you to let him know your feelings. I really like you, Mikasa. You remind me of myself a few years back ago. And I would be happy to have someone like you by his side. Because come on, he's really an idiot, said Mikasa. As Mikasa laughed at that. Yeah, he really is. But I do love him, she thought to herself. His mother was right. It's about time that she stepped up and made it clear to him, once and for all. Time skip. Akatsuki base. Kushina threw a torrent of shurikens towards Naruto. Kamui! As she watched in amazement as they were sucked away in a pocket dimension. 7 seconds, said Naruto, as he finished absorbing the weapons in a secret dimension. His Mangekyo was a great power to think he could make himself intangible, and also absorb the weapon into a secret dimension. But still, it wasn't enough. He had to know the full extent of his power. Kushina, make a few real clones. I need to test something, said Naruto. Got it. But what is it that you want to test, she asked. You'll see, he said. She created 5 clones. Attack. As soon as the command was given, the clones moved forward as Naruto Mangekyo started to spin. The first clone that was about to attack him passed right through him as it did spell when he hit the ground. The other 2 clones flashed through hand sign. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. The twin fireball came roaring towards him. Naruto used his Mangekyo as those attacks started to get absorbed into his dimension. Now, the 2 other clones emerged from the ground and kicked him high up in the air. The real Kushina get a thought. So that is how his power was functioned. His body materialized when he sucked in something. So that means he can't make his body intangible and absorb at the same time. He can only do it one at a time. Plus, it takes him 7 seconds to absorb an attack. During that time frame, he is completely vulnerable. All her 4 clones leap towards him. But Naruto pointed a finger towards the real her, before he vanished in a flock of crows. Shit, she thought, as she quickly spun around. But it was too late as there was a kunai pressed against her throat. How did you... By combining all of my powers I can do this. My Kamui does not grant me an instant teleportation like Madara. Rather, it provides me with something more deadly. The person that your clones attacked was my shadow. My Mangekyo is a genjutsu-based Mangekyo. It casts illusions so powerful that not even sensory ninjas like yourself can notice. The only one that can properly notice is another Mangekyo user, or perhaps someone with sage power, he said. So it means you cannot teleport like Madara? She asked curiously. But I can't do this jutsu more than a few times. I only have a few minutes to win a fight. After that I can't use my illusion based Kamui. But I can teleport like Madara as well. She nodded. So, what's your next move? What do you know about my father's powers? Can you perform some of them? He asked. She was confused. Why would he ask about Minato's powers? After all, this Kamui was on equal level with the Harashin. Why are you asking me this? Because Minato Namikaze and Konoha are the biggest threat to my empire, my dream. My father is one of the strongest ninjas in history, and sooner or later I have to face him. I can't appear weak. You will fight your own father? She asks. If possible. I want to create my empire through negotiations and goodwill. But there are certain people in Konoha who will oppose me and force my father to fight me. That's why I need you to teach me. As she knew that Naruto was right. Minato was one of the few people that knew about his Mokidan and his Mangekyo. So he needed another trump card. I don't know anything about the Harashins, sure. I taught him some seals, but the rest was all of his work. I see, said Naruto. But I do know the theory behind the Rasengan, which is his most powerful ninjutsu. I was the one that helped him develop that technique in the first place, she said, with a smile. So can you perform the Rasengan? He asked. No, I can't, she said. But I can teach you the basics. It's all up to you after that. Time skip. The medical station, Mikasa slowly made her way. She saw many Konoha shinobis lying on beds. Most of them were badly injured. Medics were moving around to make sure these ninjas survived. As she walked, keeping a straight face forward, it took her a moment before she arrived. A few tears came in her eyes as she spotted her three friends, lying side by side in the bed. There was a lot of machines attached to their bodies that were helping keep them alive. Uncle's body was covered all over from head to toe, and there was a tube in her mouth that was making her breathe. Aiwashi had bandage on his torso and chest. He was staring at the ceiling. Shizune was sitting up. She was less injured, but she still had bandage all over her from the stab that she received. Aiwashi slowly turned as he saw Mikasa standing there. Hey, he said weakly. He tried to get up, but she made him rest. How are you feeling? I can't feel a thing, he said. It's all numb. I'm glad that you made it, Mikasa, said Aiwashi happily. We kicked some ass, didn't we? He said, with a joking tone. Yeah, we did, she said. Aiwashi was happy. Today he realized the bond that they share between each other. They fought, bled, and almost died together. Hey, bitch. The mumble voice came out as they turned, as Uncle was looking towards them. As she gave Aiwashi a wink. Uncle, Mikasa. Shizune realized who was there. As she got up and hugged Mikasa. I thought I wouldn't see you again. Well, you ain't getting rid of me so soon, Mikasa said in a jokeful tone. They broke the hug as they went over towards Uncle's bed. Snake bitch, said Mikasa. Screw you, said Uncle teasingly. As Shizune was so happy, seeing the banter between them. You okay, said Mikasa. Medic said that the sharp face busted out of my bones. But I'm gonna make it, said Uncle. That's good news, said Mikasa, more tears slipping from her eyes. All the pain, the sorrow, the loss, the anger, everything was being released. She was happy. They were all here. They were all okay. Time skip. Mikoto watched as Mikasa walked beside her. She didn't know what happened with the meeting between the three fellow Blacklight, but something had changed in the girl. I want to protect them. A proud smile came on Mikoto's face. I want to protect my friends no matter what. Is that your dream? It's the only thing worth fighting for. To protect the one that you care about. Yes, that's my dream. You've gained something valuable. Always remember this, that feeling that you now feel. She said she touched her chest. Mikasa didn't know what this feeling was. As she looked towards Mikoto, it made her feel like she was her mother. Yes, she said, with a smile on her face. They then spotted people coming towards them, in black clothes. Mikasa realized that one of them was the Hokage. The other one was a young boy, who looked like he was about 13. He looked like a copy of Minato, with his bright, spiky blonde hair, and his blue, azure eyes. He was wearing a Konoha headband similar to what the second wore. If she was right, this was Naruto's brother. They look so much alike. Mikoto. As Mikoto turned towards him, as she saw her husband and her younger son, Itachi. Minato, what are... She was cut off as Itachi came forward and hugged her. Mikasa felt her heartbeat increasing. Something was wrong. Minato, what's going on? Said Mikoto as Itachi was not saying anything. He stepped forward as she looked down towards his black clothing. It's Naruto. He has fallen in the line of duty. Time skip. Darkness. Minato watched as his wife shakily walked forward in the morgue. The blacklight members in the shadows, watching everything without that emotion on their faces, keeping themselves reserved. Itachi saw them. No emotion. Nothing. His brother was really the commander of a special unit. Once again he was seeing how amazing his brother truly was. But his thoughts were being overwhelmed by the memories of the past. I'm not leaving you. I will always love you. As those words, they stuck with him. Minato was experiencing the same thing. Please take care of Mom and Itachi. Naruto told him, pleaded with him. As Izumo came over and spoke to Hokage, his condolences, he even lied, telling Minato that it was a quick and painless death, when he knew that it was different. But they had already talked about it. They didn't want the family to suffer even more. He handed the 2 letters over to Minato. He couldn't stand it anymore as he exited the morgue. Coming outside, he saw Mikasa. She was just standing there. She was still in her hospital clothing. Her silky black hair was hiding her face. As she looked up slowly, tears were pooling from her eyes. He moved forward without thinking as he enwrapped her in a tight hug. Izumo, her voice broke. It's okay, Izumo said. It's okay. He's at peace. He's resting. He had to quickly hold her up as her legs gave way. Her entire body felt weak. Looking at her made him feel more miserable. What could he say? Her purpose. When she came here, she said that she wanted to protect her friends, Armin and Naruto, but now they were gone. Footsteps could be heard as Izumo turned to see Genma. Genma, he said. Genma. As Mikasa looked up. How did this happen, she said, her voice sounding broken as usual. As Genma felt terrible on seeing her like this. So it was true. She really loved him. I won't leave you alone, he thought to himself. He looked her in the eye. We were ambushed by the Kyuubi Shinjolki, he said. The Kyuubi? Said Mikasa. All of us was defeated before the fight even began. That monster was stronger than all of us. Naruto made the ultimate sacrifice by drawing that monster away. He fought valiantly. He was able to push that monster back. But the Shinjolki fought back. Naruto suffered serious wounds. And he died, said Genma truthfully. Genma pulled out a letter and handed it to her. He named you the 3rd Captain. He gave me this letter before we embarked on our mission to capture the island. He knew that Baku would name someone of his choice as a commander if anything happened to Naruto, Izumo, or Mikasa. Baku was already keeping a close eye on you. So Naruto gave me this official letter naming Mikasa the 3rd. Till the very end, even after death, he still watched out for us, said Genma honestly. As Mikasa looked towards the letter, she took it, her hands were shaking. As it broke Genma's heart seeing her like this, she gently tore it open, and she pulled out the letter inside. Dear Mikasa, if you're reading this, then I've joined Armin. I am really sorry, but I want you to know I gave my life willingly to protect my comrades. I know that you'll blame yourself for this, but I don't regret my decision. A world without my comrades is a world that is not fit for me. I'm really grateful for you for everything. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for staying by my side. I'm so grateful that I met you. These years I spent with you and Armin was the best part of my life. I will never forget you guys. Mikasa, you have a great power inside of you. Do not hide the feelings of your heart. You deserve all of the happiness in this world. And we will always be family no matter what. Just as Commander Fox and Armin believe in me, I will believe in you, Mikasa. All our friends and comrades in Black Light are part of our family. They will need us, need you in this tough time. I know I have no right to put you up to anything even after I break our promise. But we really have great friends around us, and it's our duty to protect them. Protect them from Baku. Believe in your comrades and lead them to a greater world. The world that I and Armin dreamt about. I'll be waiting with Armin on the other side for you, but don't come just yet. After all, you're my dream. You're a moron. Naruto Namikaze. Tears flow freely even more. Naruto, she said. Aizumo tried to comfort her, but she ran off. He was about to go after her until Genma stopped him. Let her grieve, Aizumo. If she ever wants to move on and be the captain, let her grieve. Genma, she needs us right now. Mikasa is just a person, Aizumo argued. She's not just any person, she's now the third captain. Since Naruto has made a choice of choosing a successor, not even Baku can override this. Only the Hokage can change Naruto's decision. But if she wants to protect her comrades, she truly has to understand what Naruto lived and died for. Aizumo, he died for us. I regret that I never got to try to know him. I understand it's a difficult time for her. It's a difficult time for all of us. But he believed that she could lead us, and I'll believe in him. I'm just asking you to do the same. As Aizumo's shoulders slumped, he was right. As he looked towards the floor, tears. She was already gone out of sight. He just hoped somehow they can get through this in one piece. Meanwhile, the Akatsuki base, Kushina was lying on her bed. Despite her incredible stamina, she was exhausted, as she and Naruto had trained. And she was now exhausted. But there he was in the corner. He was holding on to something in his arm. She picked herself up as she went over. It was a photo of black light. She saw him in the center of the photo with a bored look on his face. Armin had his arm wrapped around Naruto's shoulder with a smile on his face, while Mikasa was just watching her two friends. She was also smiling. It was before we went to Shanxi, said Naruto. You miss them, Kushina said. Every day. Blacklight is my family. It is still not too late, she said. You can go back. I can't, said Naruto. Will you really be able to live like this all alone? Without your family? Without your friends? I have been through this stage, and believe me, there is no greater pain than loneliness. I had given up until I met you. I could believe that creating this empire is vital for peace. But your way, she said, it's wrong. What do you mean, Naruto asked. By forcefully creating an empire, you will only cause more pain and hatred in this world. You have the power to change people inside of you. You change so much people that came in your life. Mikasa, Armin, me. You have that power inside of you. You never gave up on your comrades. You fought, you bled. You almost died for them. You want to stop the hatred in this world, but in order to do that, you must overcome your own hatred and dark feelings. Ones which have overwhelmed you by accepting your dark half and constantly being around Madara, she said. She saw his gaze soften a bit. So, I was right. He's still there, she thought to herself. But the ninjas in the villages, I can't just let them go through the same thing I go through. I can't just let them start war against Naruto. The conflict that will arise as you forcefully create an empire would just start the same thing you want to prevent. Fulfill your dreams, not through war and battle, but by taking everyone with you. That is what Armin wanted for you. He didn't need the empire or anything like that. His dream was to be with his two best friends and protect them. Even if he was weak, he taught you the most important thing. He taught you to care for your comrades and never abandon them, she said. Take care of Mikasa. I know that you can do it. He remembered Armin's words as he looked towards the photo, towards his best friend. There are more peaceful ways to create an empire, but to do that, you must understand what Armin and Katetsu wanted. You have to fulfill their dreams. That is your destiny, Naruto. Bring everyone together and lead them to a better world, she said. She saw tears start to fall from his eyes. He was burned by his dark past, but there was still hope. She was supporting him to create this empire. But if she could save him from darkness, if she could help him create it the right way and not lose himself in the process, she will, no matter what. After all, the worst villains in history were once heroes at one point. But guys, leave me in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, remember to stay tuned for the what ifs coming your way over in the making and then making 3. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, and the making 2 and the making 3. which I post what every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. And thank you for all for helping and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys very soon. Peace out.